Good wishes, dear children. How are you? I hope you all are well and good at your places and enjoying your learning sessions with me, Navneet Kaur, your social studies teacher. So, dear children, today I want to sing something. Let me sing a song for you and then you will tell me what are we going to study today? Is it exciting? Okay, listen to this. This is a little sad song. My dreams have the right to know why for centuries they have been breaking. My dreams have the right to know why for centuries they have been breaking. Why don't they ever come true? Why don't they ever come true? My hands have the right to know. My hands have the right to know. Why do they remain without work all along? Why do they remain without work all along? Why do they have nothing to do? 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 My feet have the right to know why from village to village they have to walk on their own. My feet have the right to know why from village to village they have to walk on their own. Why are there no signs of a bus yet? Why are there no signs of a bus yet? While I don't even get a fistful of rice, my hunger has the right to know. My hunger has the right to know why grains rot in godowns. Why grains rot in godowns, while I don't get even a fistful of rice, while I don't get even a fistful of rice, while I don't even get a fistful of rice, while I don't even get a fistful of rice. My old mother has the right to know why are there no medicines, needles, dispensaries or bandages. My old mother has the right to know why there are no medicines, needles, dispensaries or bandages. My children have the right to know why do they labor day and night. My children have the right to know why do they labor day and night. Why there is no school in the sight. Why there is no school in sight. Why is there no school in sight? Why is there no school in sight? My dreams have the right to know. My dreams have the right to know. My dreams have the right to know. So, my dear children, What do you think is the central idea of this song? Why is it that I want to know? What am I talking about? Yes, I'm talking about my rights. And what else am I talking about? Yes, I'm talking about the inequalities. I'm talking about the inequalities that surround me. Dear children, I talked of sustainable development goals, right? In this video, we had a brief discussion about sustainable development goals. The Indian Constitution recognizes all Indians as equal before the law and states that no person can be discriminated against because of religion, sex, caste, or whether he is or she is rich or poor. All adults in India have the equal right to vote during elections, and this power over the ballot box has been used by people to elect and replace their representatives. The Constitution of India gives the right to equality to all the citizens of the country. The Article 326 in the Indian Constitution states the universal adult franchisee as an essential part for the elections. It refers to those people who are 18 years and above, have a right to vote, take participation in the election irrespective of their caste and religion. Do you recall the story of Rosa Parks in chapter 1? Let me remind. Rosa Parks, who was an African American woman, had refused to give up her seat on a bus for a white man on December 1, 1995, as she had a tiring day. The refusal started a massive agitation against the unequal ways in which African Americans were treated, and this movement came to be known as Civil Rights Movement. When the people of the country are treated differently or unequally, their dignity is violated. The dignities of Om Prakash Valmiki and Ansari were violated. He was picked up and made to sweep the school because of his caste. Om Prakash Valmiki's classmates and teachers used to hurt his dignity, and he was made to feel low than other students. Both Om Prakash Valmiki and Ansari had suffered unequal behavior and were discriminated at individual level. Both of their experiences portray that though our law enforces equality, inequalities are still prevailing in our society. Discrimination can both cause poverty and be a hurdle in alleviating poverty. The feeling of equality that the ballot box provides, because the vote of one person is as good as that of another, does not extend to most people's lives. As you have read, the increasing privatization of health services and the neglect of government hospitals have made it difficult for most poor people like Kanta, Hakim Sheikh and Aman to get good quality health care. These people do not have the resources to afford expensive private health services. Similarly, the man who sells juice does not have the resources to compete with all the major companies who sell branded drinks through expensive advertising. Swapna does not have sufficient resources to grow cotton and so has to take a loan from the trader to grow her crop. This forces her to sell her crop at lower price. Melanie, like the millions of domestic workers across the country, is forced to endure the insults and hardship of working as a domestic help because she has no resources to set up something on her own. Poverty and lack of resources continue to be the key reason why so many people's lives in India are highly unequal. Dear children, have you ever heard about Sustainable Development Goal, which is commonly known as SDG? You can search for this on www.in.undp.org. The Sustainable Development Goals or Global Goals are a collection of 17 interlinked goals designed to be a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. These are number 1, no poverty, number 2, zero hunger, number 3, good health and well-being, number 4, quality education, number 5, gender equality, number 6, clean water and sanitation, number 7, affordable and clean energy, number 8, decent work and economic growth, number 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, number 10, reduced inequality, number 11, sustainable cities and communities, number 12, responsible consumption and production, number 13, climate action, number 14, life below water, number 15, life on land, number 16, peace and justice, strong institutions, number 17, partnerships to achieve the goal. Dear children, the Ansaris were discriminated against not because they did not have the resources. In fact, despite having the money to pay the required rent, they were not able to find an apartment for over a month. People are reluctant to lease them an apartment because of their religion. Similarly, the main reason that the teachers forced Om Prakash Valmiki to sweep the schoolyard was because he was Dalit. You have also read that the work women do is often considered of less value than that done by the men. All of these persons are discriminated against primarily because of their social and cultural background, as well because they are women. Discrimination on the basis of a person's religion, caste and sex is another significant factor for why people are treated unequally in India. Often, poverty and lack of dignity and respect for certain communities and groups come together in such powerful ways that it is difficult to identify where one aspect of inequality ends and the other begins. As you know, Dalit, Adivasi and Muslim girls drop out of school in large numbers. This is a combined outcome of poverty, social discrimination and lack of good quality school facilities for these communities. Let us talk of struggles for equality. Do you know, dear children, according to 2011 census data, women form 48.5% of the population throughout the world in every community, village, city and town. You will find that there are some people who are known and respected because of their fight for equality. These people may have stood up against an act of discrimination that they have faced or which they witnessed, or they may be well respected because they treat all persons with dignity and are therefore trusted and called upon to resolve issues in the community. Often, some of these persons become more widely recognized because they have the support or represent large number of people who have united to address a particular issue of inequality. In India, there are several struggles in which people have come together to fight for issues that they believe are important. You have already read about the methods used by women's movement to raise issues of equality. The Tawa Matsya Sangh in Madhya Pradesh is another example of people coming together to fight for an issue. There are many such struggles, such as those among beedi workers, fisher folk, agricultural laborers, slum dwellers and each group is struggling for justice in its own way. There are also many attempts to form cooperatives and other collective ways by which people can have more control over resources. Tava Matsya Sangh. Let's talk about this. When dams are built or forest areas declared sanctuaries for animals, thousands of people are displaced. Whole villages are uprooted and people are forced to go and build new houses, start new lives elsewhere. Most of these people are poor. In urban areas too, bastis in which poor people live are often uprooted. Some of them are relocated to areas outside the city. Their work as well as their children's schooling is severely disrupted because of the distance from the outskirts of the city to these locations. This displacement of people and communities is a problem that has become quite widespread in our country. People usually come together to fight against this. There are several organizations across the country fighting for the rights of the displaced. We'll study about Tava Matsya Sangh, a federation of fisher workers cooperatives, an organization fighting for the rights of the displaced forest dwellers of Satpura forest in Madhya Pradesh. Originating in the Mahadeo hills of Chindwara district, the Tava flows through Bitul before joining the Narmada in Hoshtangabad. The Tava Dam began to be built in 1958 and was completed in 1978. It submerged large areas of forest and agricultural land. The forest dwellers were left with nothing. Some of the displaced people settled around the reservoir and, apart from their merge farms, found a livelihood in fishing. They earned very little. In 1994, the government gave the rights for fishing in the Tava reservoir to private contractors. These contractors drove the local people away and got cheap labor from outside. The contractors began to threaten the villagers, who did not want to leave, by bringing the hoodlums. The villagers stood united and decided that it was time to set up an organization and do something to protect their rights. The newly formed Tava Matsya Sangh (TMS) organized rallies and a Chakka Jam, a road blockade, demanding their right to continue fishing for their livelihood. In response to their protest, the government created a committee to assess the issue. The committee recommended that fishing rights be granted to the villagers for their livelihood. In 1996, the Madhya Pradesh government decided to give to the people displaced by Tava Dam by fishing rights for the reservoir. A 5-year lease agreement was signed 2 months later. On January 2, 1997, people from 33 villages of Tava started a new year with the first catch. With the Tava Matsya Sangh taking over, the fisher workers were able to increase their earnings substantially. This was because they set up the cooperative which would buy the catch from them at a fair price. The cooperative would then arrange to transport and sell this in markets where they would get a good price. They have now begun to earn 3 times more than they earned earlier. The TMS, Tava Matsya Sangh, has also begun giving the fish workers loans for repair and the buying of new nets. By managing to earn a higher wage as well as preserving the fish in the reservoir, the TMS has shown that when people's organizations get their rights to livelihood, they can be good managers. Okay, children, what do you know about creative expression against inequality? Let me tell you. While some join protest movements to fight inequality, others might use their pen or their voice or their ability to dance to draw attention to issues of inequality. Writers, singers, dancers, and artists have been very active in the fight against inequality. Often, poems, songs, and stories can also inspire us and make us believe strongly in an issue and influence our efforts to correct that situation. Dear children, let me talk of the Indian Constitution as a living document. The foundation of all movements for justice and the inspiration of all the poetry and the songs on inequality is the recognition that all people are equal. As you know, the Indian Constitution recognizes the equality of all persons. Movements and struggles for equality in India continuously refer to the Indian Constitution to make their point about equality and justice for all. The fish workers in the Tava Matsya Sangh hope that the provisions of the Constitution will become a reality through their participation in this movement. By constantly referring to the Constitution, they use it as a living document. That is something that has real meaning in our lives. In a democracy, there are always communities and individuals trying to expand the idea of democracy and push for greater recognition of equality on existing as well as new issues. Dear children, let me throw a light on social and political life now. Over 1,500 persons attended a public hearing in Lucknow in 2001 to protest violence against women, were heard by a jury of eminent women who played the role of judges. This people's jury helped highlight the lack support in the legal system for women who seek justice in such cases. Issues of equality are central to a democracy. Dear children, in your syllabus, it has been tried to highlight issues that pose a challenge to this idea of equality in a democracy. These include the privatization of health services in the country, the increasing control that business houses exert on the media, the low value given to women and their work, and the low earnings made by small farmers who grow cotton. These issues substantially affect poor and marginalized communities and therefore concern economic and social equality in the country. This is the core of the struggle for equality in a democracy. The dignity and self-respect of each person and their community can only be realized if they have adequate resources to support and nurture their families and if not discriminated against. Okay, dear children, this is revision time. Tell me, what do you think is meant by the expression power over the ballot box? Yes, the power over the ballot box signifies the power of the common people who are availing the right to vote in every election. They are the real power of any country who are driving the government and the working of the system without any second thoughts. In 1994, the government gave the rights to fishing in the Tava Reservoir to private contractors. These contractors drove the local people away and threatened the ones who did not leave by bringing hoodlums. The villagers stood united and decided that it was the time to set up an organization and do something to protect their rights. Thus, they formed the Tava Matsya Sangh, which organized rallies and protests demanding their right to continue fishing for their livelihood. Okay, now tell, why did the villagers set up this organization? Yes, the villagers set up this issue in order to protect their livelihood and their land. They also set up this organization with the additional objective of highlighting the injustice meted out to them by the government. Okay, do you think that the large scale participation contributed to the success of TMS? In response to the large scale protest by TMS, the government created a committee to assess the issue. The committee recommended that fishing rights be granted to the villagers for their livelihood. In 1996, the Madhya Pradesh government decided to give to the people displaced by Tawa Dam the fishing rights for the reservoir. A 5-year lease agreement was signed 2 months later. On January 2, 1997, people from 33 villages of Tawa started the new year with the first catch. With the TMS taking over, the fish workers were able to increase their earnings substantially. Thus, it can be said that the large-scale participation by the people forced the government to review the situation in the villagers' favor, and they worked out a deal which would be beneficial for all the parties. What role does the Constitution play in the people's struggle for equality? Constitution plays a significant role in the people's struggle for equality. It ensures that there is a free and fair treatment. In the eye of the Constitution, everyone is equal. No one is superior over the other. It ensures that every person must get equal rights under the law. It makes sure that everyone has access to the basic and the fundamental rights. Now, let me give you a homework. Your homework is that you have to search for sustainable development goals on Google, or you can read it from somewhere, you can search for a magazine or whatever source of information you are comfortable in. So, you have to write around 4 or 5 paragraphs on this, and you have to debate on this with your family members and friends. Do you support this? Do you think these goals will be achieved by 2030, or you think this is still going to take a lot of more time? Or do you think that these goals can never be achieved? Or do you think that this is a good step? So, I want your own creative writing over this concept. So, you get information from the Google, or you get information from your adults, and then jot down your own thoughts. Write down your own thoughts in around 4 to 5 paragraphs. I hope you will enjoy your homework. With this, I would like to take your leave now. Stay safe, stay connected. Do not do injustice to anyone, at least on your level. Be rational and justifiable to everyone around yourselves. Take care, stay safe.